If you're not dealing with Kaye, it ain't the truth.
It's the Flame Show. Powered by the Truth Talk Show.
Oh, man, it's another hot episode of the Flame Show, where every topic we touch is straight fire. I'm your girl, Kaye TheTruth, and if you're not dealing with Kaye, you already know it's definitely not the truth. Google me, baby, www.KayTheTruth.com. In studio today, we have the one, the only, the fabulous, the gorgeous, the Wonder Twinz. Welcome, ladies.
Hey.
How are y'all doing, beautiful?
Well, we're doing good. We are actually not only do we look good, but we're feeling good here in Miami, Florida right now. So we just out here just living life to the fullest.
It's hot. It stays hot. The heat has no forgiveness. I don't know if we can say this on the radio, but it's hell hot. So I don't know. But Dallas and Miami Heat, I don't know which one might win, but I think Miami might. I don't know.
The humidity
just to make you feel like, I don't know, like you just sitting in a sauna all day. It didn't rain, so it's not as sexy as you think. It did rain today, too. It was the problem.
Oh, yeah.
So, Wonder Twinz, introduce yourselves. I have Miss Demi and Miss Savika.
Go ahead, Demi.
Oh, she's gonna say Miss Dabby. I like Dabby. She's the front runner, and I'm the one. I take the last baton and I take it home. So, go ahead, Miss Dabby.
Hey, this is Dabby out of Miami, Florida, of the Wonder Twinz. I always like to say I'm the favorite, but we're both of the fan favorites here out of Miami.
No,
and I am a professional plus model, public speaker, radio personality. I'm just kind of like the Wonder Twin. I'm a little superwoman, super mom. I am a boss mom, and I like to make things happen and get it done.
Yes, well, Jimmy is the other side. Jimmy's the nurturer, the caregiver, the witty one. Davika is the favorite.
All the jazzy ones.
That's the other gentleman. Denny trying to get that love closer to I like Davy. But when that sets me aside from her is that I've acquired some. I woke up one morning and acquired some autoimmune diseases, and my life has been changed forever. So, us being identical twins, and I'm wearing oxygen cannula 24 hours a day, people can now tell the difference between us, and then with the weight gain from the prednisone. So I use my adversities as a place of education, empowerment, and inspiration. So I have a page for those who are on Facebook called Demi's Dish, which is DEME''S Dish, DISH. And you can follow my story as I triumph through systemic scleroderma and 4 other autoimmune diseases. So that is, and you talking about me, you got it going on, Miss Ma'am. You got a whole major platform. Yeah, I need my husband to come get it on, because that's what I've been looking for as a reason. But that's a whole other show. Yeah. So why the name the Wonder Twinz?
The Wonder Twinz? Okay, well, interesting enough, our colleagues, our long-term friends actually coined us the Wonder Twinz, and the reason being is that when many people say that whenever they come into our presence, when they leave differently. They feel empowered, they feel uplifted, and it's something about our energy and our aura and our spirits that people feel whole when they leave.
Or in awe.
People are magnetized.
Striking, beautiful.
So once they get past the beauty and really get to see the depth that we have, people are just, like she said, they're magnetized, and that's how the Wonder Twinz was coined a few years back, and we just took it and ran with it. And that's how the Wonder Twinz came about.
We 80s babies. We didn't know there was an actual cartoon called
The Wonder Twinz.
Until after, getting our thing incorporated and seeing around, I'm like, oh, that was an actual show? Y'all old fogies ain't telling us this? I'm thinking this is something new and innovative.
Right, we think this is something folks fresh. No, this has been around before.
Mm-hmm. So, why do y'all want to make me feel old? I am definitely a 70s baby. And I love
I was just joking because I like my men in their 40s, salt and pepper and flavor.
How about that?
That's usually in the 70s. How about that?
Yeah,
because all of that.
My father was like 75. So
that is
I'm just saying. I like them, seasoned and wisdom comes with the 70s. 70s was a good decade. Maybe even the 60s. Let me throw that out there.
Y'all are funny.
So with the Wonder Twins, from my research, I understand that you guys are African American and Latin.
Yes, and Caribbean. We're all like, it's kind of like a melting pot, like how South Florida is. Our father was from Cali, Colombia, and his father's a Brazilian. Well, my mother's mother was Spaniard,
and Puerto Rican.
My grandfather was Bahamian through the way of Haiti, Gambia. So it's like we have people from Cuba in our family. I had on my grandfather's side. We're just all over the place, but we do identify ourselves as, number one, women of color, but we just have like a different take because we can identify with the African American woman because of the civil rights movement and our family's involvement and pioneers in the South Florida area. We are in the book. What is it called? The Black Miami. The Black Miami. Our great-grandparents are in that book, as well as, you know, having the Latin and the Caribbean to begin. We live in the Bahamas. That's like our second home. And a lot of extended and bloodline Hispanic family relatives. So we have one eclectic blend
when it comes to our family lineage,
which is kind of makes it hard sometimes to kind of identify with our own identity. Like, it's kind of like been a struggle too to figure out like where we fit in, because we don't fit in because we don't speak Spanish like that, or we don't sing Black enough because we speak too proper. You know how it is in the Black community,
South, especially here in Miami, in the South.
You know, you speak white, quote, you're coined. So we just kind of created our own identity, like, especially being twins. So we understand each other. So, but we're definitely women of color, and we understand the plight of what it is
to have blended families.
Yeah, and
I mean, you look at America, blended families is the state of the ethnicity. Here in the United States is blended families, from whether it's white, Hispanic, or white and Black, and Asian and white. You know, just how people just love each other beyond the ethnic makeup.
And when you look at the coast, look at America now. What's going on with this whole civil rights movement? We're living in the civil rights era, whether we want to acknowledge it or not. You know, from the top to the bottom. So, in that vein.
So we're in the modern Jim and Jane Crow era right now, which is
okay, pretty much. Yeah.
Okay, so with you having a blend, your blend or melting pot, your family history, going in a little bit of politics, how do you feel about the way Donald Trump speaks about immigrants, or as they say,
shameful?
I mean, first of all, if you're the president, right? I mean, this is just hypothetically speaking of the free world. We're not free.
But
president of the free world. Look at America. America did not belong to white men. It belonged to the indigenous people, you know. And so the immigrants, like he really talks about, like the Mexicans or the natives, this is their land. We took their land. So how you will come in somebody's home, take their land, push them out, slaughter them from the Central Americas and South Americas, I can tell you the history, and North America, push them into Alaska, Canada, all that, and then say, get out, this is our home. No, this is not your home. Your home is in Europe. So I just don't get it. And your wife is an immigrant? Like, I don't know. I think it's self-hatred. And the fact that you're aligning yourself up to different hatred groups who truly you don't still fit the model of the Aryan race. I don't get it. So our president, I feel like, why is he still there? Because if you're representing America
he does not represent the voice of America.
Barack Obama had to do it. He had to eat it up. He couldn't be all about the black agenda, but he made sure he handled the areas of the black agenda, whether we saw it or not. But
he's not America's president like Barack Obama wasn't America's president.
No.
Yeah.
Donald Trump is Donald Trump.
Right. And that's his agenda.
We call him the 45th. We don't. That's kind of disrespectful. I'm sorry that I don't call him the president. We just call him the 45th. But, I mean, look how he's handling
Charlottesville, Virginia.
Yeah, but he said that they had a permit to practice hate. Okay, cool. Okay,
All right.
That goes also with David Duke giving 45th praise for the way he handled the situation. If you have a known KKK leader giving you praise for the way you handled the situation, that in itself is already a problem. So we already knew what he was before he got in office. And it's sadly to say that some of the people who voted for him to be in office, now they're upset.
Right, they want to backpedal now.
No, Florida is good for that. Now, this is to my Latin brothers and sisters, and they can get upset with me, but a lot of them vote Republican, and a lot of them thought that Donald Trump was going to, support them, and now when they send it behind back to Cuba and all these other places, because, Miami, we are little Havana, And
that wet foot, dry foot is real here in Miami. He shut down immigration and everything. Like, they shut down immigration.
And, there's been a lot of articles reading the people who voted for him. Now they're in jeopardy of being deported. Like, wow, yeah.
It's real.
Mm-hmm.
It's real.
Yeah. Y'all thought he was talking Mexicans, huh? No, this is Mexico, papito. No, he's talking you. You Republican? Okay.
And the reason I brought up discrimination, because when we all think Alicious, me and the Wonder Twins are definitely
yes.
Have you guys been discriminated against because you are plus size models?
Oh, yes. OMG. Man, I got stories upon stories about, being discriminated, being a plus-size woman, a curvy woman, especially even in my industry when it comes to outside of modeling, but just property management and real estate. People just, man, first of all, my last position I lost because I addressed racial discrimination in the work environment, and it really turned it into a hostile work environment. And then even had, one of the other upper management even made a comment in regards to, my physical stature, but yet she was a white curvy girl herself, and I was just like, ma'am, I'm sorry, there's nothing about me looks defeated. And so when I step out, whenever I step out, I slay. Listen, I have my own theme music when I walk out the door, okay? I'm well put together. And so,
even if it's trash, I've
experienced that professionally. Matter of fact, I even go back to the very first time I modeled. I actually did a show for Kamora Lee Simmons and Tyra Banks early in my modeling career on South Beach, and I was the only plus-size staple model at that fashion show. I had straight models. I was the only curvy girl, and I was like a 16 at that time, like a full 16. Do you not know they cut up all my clothes and only wore one piece on the runway because they were trying to sabotage me? But how it flipped was the one piece that I wore, I sold 10 replicas of that entire look. So it's like, okay, you want to come for me, but are you selling the pieces? Because at the end of the day, you're just a pretty face. If you're not modeling, you can't sell the product. The whole point of you modeling is you basically want to sell the look, and then everyday woman can feel like, hey, I can look that runway fly by rocking that outfit. And so I've seen it, I've experienced it professionally in the workforce as well as on the runway. I've experienced it being a curvy girl, so the shade be real from time to time.
Yeah, but I wonder if they were cutting up your clothes. They had some type of insecurities themselves.
Yeah, the confidence. Listen, I don't know why people have this
intimidation of it.
No, people have this idea that because if you're a full-figured woman, it's what they consider to be fat or overweight, with the fat shaming and the negative, body image that people feel about, the curvy woman. I don't know why they feel like we're defeated and have low self-esteem. Not every woman who doesn't fit that one monolithic cookie-cutter model what beauty is has low self-esteem. And so the confidence is real. When you love who you are on the inside, it radiates and it illuminates brightly. So if you don't feel good about yourself, that's not my issue. You can't project that stuff onto me. I'm just going to be me, and I'm going to slay when I get on that runway. And so that's essentially what happened. They were intimidated by the confidence because they weren't confident in their skin at the end. They eating and throwing up, and a lot of the time bulimia and anorexia was real high, and it still is with body dysmorphia. But for me, I just sit and eat my sandwich, enjoy my juice, and get up and rip the runway. So they were a little salty that I can enjoy my food and still look beautiful and still be viewed beautiful even in my fullness, and they weren't happy with the skin that they were in.
Well, can I join? Davika's more the model. Like I said, I just do the print with her, as I definitely was not made for the runway. I don't care for all that limelight. But I discriminate. I get a different type of discrimination as being a disabled American and being on a cannula. I utilize a wheelchair and a walker now due to my condition as it flares and it gets worse, and et cetera, et cetera. And you'll be surprised at how people try to run me over in the parking lot. They don't like to wait for me, how they walk through me. I'm on my cart. I'm 6'1.5", full figure. You see me, blonde hair, and they walk in front of me like, I dare you to hit me. You know, people treat me like a spectacle or a contagion. I have to go through so many different hurdles on a day-to-day. Just on my disability, you think people would be more sensitive or empathic. Not sympathetic, but empathic. Yeah, empathic, empathy, or altruistic at times. Because sometimes I have to be on my own trying to pull out my wheelchair. And you'll be surprised at the amount of discrimination I'm up against. And it hurts. It really does. And I'm like, wow, you know, what about the elderly? I see how the elderly feel, the marginalized. So discrimination comes in.
Well, Demi, I do want to stop you because you say you're not the runway, you just do the print. But I actually saw the video.
Look,
and you were pretty good.
Yeah, I channeled it. I be pulling it out of her because she keeps saying that, but I've been telling her that for years. Like, I was trying to get her on the runway with me for years, and I got her even to go out with me for Full Figure Fashion Week to audition. That was like the first time going out and walking.
Yeah, and I was in so much pain in those heels because I can't wear heels. And you can tell, like, they were like, no, she's not the model. I'm like, I'm in pain, baby. These heels is killing me.
Yeah, she's the little Tom girl.
Yeah.
I'm the girly girl, flirty girl.
I bring my own energy. Like, that's Davika. Davika was meant to be, that's her niche. You know, I play around with it, but not like, I've noticed that with the print work, I tend to come out.
Yes, you do.
But
you kill.
But to be honest, I'm not as confident as Davika. You know, when our book comes out, you'll kind of understand. I went through a lot of self-esteem building, a lot of self-work, and I still do it now, especially now with how I've gained over 140 pounds with the steroids and, you know, not being able to work out in the gym like I used to and not feeling so confident in my skin. And that's what makes our story so powerful because we talk about body shaming and body positivity. And here I am. I'm actually having to live what I preach on many different spheres. So, yeah, I look good doing it. It's just I have to kind of, like I said, I tap into the twin thing and we share this psychic energy. So I have to kind of just pull on her to make it happen, but I do it my way. So I say, to me, I look like, oh gosh, I look so arky.
No, you don't.
I don't look like the professional model because when the video come out, you look okay. And then when Demi come out, like, go ahead, Demi, because you just see our personalities are different. We're totally different. We look alike. We share similar things, but we're totally different.
Demi, I want to salute you to be able to be a plus-size model and also to do it with an illness. But I want to go ahead and get a little bit into your illness. Can you, and I'm probably pronouncing it incorrect, scleroderma. I know you found out in 2013. What was it like finding out, and what exactly is the disease?
Well, basically, this is how I found out. I initially started seeing changes in my body. And this is the first one I tell people, before anything, always advocate for your health. Listen to your body. Your body will tell you something is wrong, like a pain is an indicator, a bump, a lump, something. You know your body better than anybody else. So I started noticing some bending in my fingers and my toes. I was braiding hair. Then I developed this cough. I had like pneumonia, pre-pneumonia, 2013. Moving forward, 2014, I was working at a juvenile correctional facility as a therapist, and it was such a hostile environment. And I started having these symptoms, like this cough would not go away. My hands were like purple, pain, crippling. I would be cold, and I was rushed to the hospital if I had a heart attack. Still nothing came about it. I started to see a specialist. So December 23rd, 2014, I finally met a practitioner by the name, I have to say her name because she's my Angelita, by the name of Dr. Karen Prida, who was the only practitioner
to listen to me, and I actually made a mistake. You know, when they do your family history and they ask you da-da-da-da, I was like, well, I think my mother has rheumatoid arthritis. She said, you know what? I'm going to do a full panel. I'm going to check your rheumatoid levels. And bam, I found out that I had scleroderma, systemic scleroderma at that, because there's two forms. There's localized, and then there's the one that I have systemic. Systemic means it affects the organs. It can affect your lungs, your kidneys, your GI tract. It's vascular. It's connective tissue. It also affects the blood vessels. So for me, it's the lungs. So I have interstitial lung disease, which means permanent lung damage with pulmonary fibrosis. There's also pulmonary hypertension, which is the number one killer for persons with systemic scleroderma or idiopathic lung disease, as well as Raynaud's disease. I have rheumatoid arthritis, Sjögren's disease, and the mixed connective tissue disease, which now they have identified as having symptoms with lupus. So the lupus and the scleroderma mimic very much alike, with the fatigue, the muscle pain, et cetera. But I am fortunate to not have like the skin. I do have some sort of like different pigmentations, but if you look up scleroderma and look at the different types, your mind will be like boggled, your mouth will drop. And not everyone develops the outer symptoms, but it's a very debilitating disease. Again, like from blisters to muscle atrophy to gastrointestinal issues, the kidneys, and then the heart. Because of the lungs, you know, the lungs and the heart work together. A lot of people don't know. So now I have to take heart medication. I have to watch that. I have a little issues, but this year I've been in the hospital every month. I think stress has really been the number one cause, which is the number one exacerbator. So people, monitor your stress. Take care of yourself and your health. That's all you have, because you can work all these crazy hours for these jobs that can replace you, but you can't undo your health. So you can have all these goals and want to see these things, but if you don't have the health to enjoy it, then what was the purpose of toiling and making all the sacrifices if you can't even enjoy it because you don't have your health to enjoy it? So that's kind of like where I am, and because of the terminal tag that it has, I have not internalized it. I read the book called The 4 Agreements by Don and Gail, and it gave me a great tool to say, you know what, I don't have to agree with death. I know there's a possibility all of us have to check out of this life one day at a time, but it doesn't have to be as early as the doctors say it has to be. And by meeting people that's been living with disease 20 and 30 years has given me hope, because they told me 5 to 10 years and without treatment 2 to 3 years. And I just keep pressing forward. So that's why my desire to be married and partnered and to travel and to live out the rest of my life how I desired it to be and how God wanted it to be is so important for me now, and to get to my kids the tools that they need. So God forbid if I were to leave this earth prematurely, that they will be prepared to live a rich and full life, and to continue to carry the mantle of advocacy and education. So that's what it is. Systemic scleroderma. I can give you 2 websites that I use to learn about my disease, because my rheumatologist and other persons did not educate me. It's called the Scleroderma Foundation, which is srfcure.org, and the Scleroderma Foundation is scleroderma.org, and you can go there and find out more about the different types of scleroderma, from local to morph to thin to diffuse and limited, and learning more about the disease. So I have the views systemic scleroderma. So yeah, it's a lot.
Well, I definitely appreciate you sharing your story, because from what my understanding is, it actually does impact a lot of people more than we know. And I heard you earlier say there's not really a cure for it, or really any good medicines for it. So that
actually, for mine, I had 3 treatments. It was Immune, Cell-Steps, and Cytoxin, which is chemo. I did the chemo. They cut the chemo short, and the last one I did, I had allergic reaction to it. So I can't take that, and I'm back on the Cell-Steps, which is at a high number, which is nuclear, and which causes the chemo alone causes sterilization, bladder cancer, there's lymphoma, bone cancer, the Cell-Steps, and the immune, all these different diseases. It's like, okay, I'm coming to treat one thing. Now you're trying to kill me off of bone cancer, lymphoma, all sorts of other maladies that like I said, I'm not speaking that over my life. I'm not going to acquire that. They may have had it, but it's not going to miss me. And so that's just my, metaphysical healing. I listen to a lot of meditative music. I have my little aromatherapy. I have to get centered. Being on steroids makes me aggressive. Very aggressive. On top, you're not always friendly. Shut up. And I already suffer from anxiety and depression, and it only makes it a little worse. But I find ways to, like I said, to cope, because I am a therapist, a registered nurse, and I'm trying to become licensed. God, that's my goal, and I will make it. So I do a lot of that self-work for myself. So imagine all those who don't have a coping skills, who don't have, like you said, someone to help rally them or their support system. A lot of people out here are doing this alone. And I'm fortunate to have my twins, my kids, my church members, and even strangers. So many people bless me. And I just thank God for his unmerited favor in this, because if it weren't for the many people, I would have waved the white flag a long time ago, because I have waved it. But, I'm anointed not to give up. So I have to focus on that, because chronic pain alone for any person is hard to manage. Like if you got back pain, I'm just talking about on a minor scale. It's hard to cope with. So just imagine having to cope what I have to cope and be away from my kids and family on average anywhere between 20 to 25 days per hospital visit. It can be a lot for a toddler and a teenager, and it's a lonely road for me most times. And me being a recluse, it's okay, but now I'm at that phase in life, like, okay, where's my companion? This is the time I would love to be snuggled up with my boo thing. You feel me? But that's a whole other show. Dating with disabilities, which we did last night on Late Night with Davy. We talked about it. And
Miss Davy.
Yes.
Also, I know you guys are advocates for other organizations or causes such as AIDS and HIV, teen pregnancy prevention, domestic violence. Tell us a little bit about that.
Wow. So, okay, well, I have done that, being that, outside the different platforms, I do serve my local church through the guise of what we will call pastoral care and counseling or Christian counseling. I do have a master's divinity in that area with womanist ethics, and so what I do is we do mentorship, and I've also sat on different boards and committees from Atlanta to Miami, where I've serviced and provide spiritual counseling for those who are affected and infected and their family members of persons who are HIV positive, and kind of helping the family cope and deal with that. And then when it comes to domestic violence and helping women to overcome sexual trauma, rape, and abuse, it started through my own personal organization called the Sister Circle, which is an entity of the Wonder Twinz LLC conglomerate. And what I'm doing is I'm actually partnering up with the new 501(c) organization, where I'm going to continue that work here in the Miami Gardens area for teens and young adult women. And so I've been doing it more through outreach ministry, through nonprofit organizations, and even we have also done it through the juvenile justice system to be able to provide an outlet or the resource for young girls who need some guidance and need some role models that can help them navigate their life journey. No, but even with that, it started off with our own victimization from the age of 3 with HIV and AIDS, and not being infected, but now having an autoimmune diseases is just kind of
a symbiotic type of a road of a connection, and it's just an affinity that we've had for persons living with HIV and AIDS, and always advocating for the marginalized since middle school or high school. These have been our causes, our platforms, peer mentoring.
And then for me, being a model, even in college, like I said, the Sister Circle started when I was at Florida Memorial University, where I started a focused weight group. It was supposed to be for curvy girls, and it wound up being, it's supposed to actually be for 20 to 30 girls. My interest meeting, I had 107 girls show up to the interest meeting, and I had 80 girls consistently who worked out, and I had 44 girls that was in my core group. And I was the only one offering psychotherapy at that time as a student intern counselor. And so it started from there. And because of the pageant world, because of me modeling, because of, my local acclaim here in the South Florida area, people who felt comfortable and knew that my sister and I were trustworthy people, it just naturally, people flocked to us and naturally gravitated to us. So I'm grateful that our platform started during our early childhood years in middle school and beyond. So for me, that's pretty much how the work has been developed throughout the years. It started with us being advocates as teens.
So having our domestic violence situations and coming out of that cycle of abuse and saying no more and recognizing it for what it is, and having your kids and teaching them and empowering them to say, you know what, you don't have to be in an unhealthy relationship. Life is too short, and you give away so many pieces of yourself that you can't reclaim back. Even when you do the therapy and the healing,
that's true.
You still can't get those parts of you that died in that relationship. You can rebuild you and create a new you.
Rescript that.
Yeah. So reauthoring.
Change the narrative. That's what we do. We help people change the narratives of their lives.
And we still have to change the narratives of our lives.
We're doing that every day.
It's not easy. Even doctors have to see a doctor. So there's no one perfect. And
That's
I have to tell people that I'm not perfect. I have my issues too. It might be a little bit more than what you think, but I'm actively working on it, and that's the difference. I'm not having this magical thinking, the Lord's just going to take it away. No, you got to do the work.
Got to do the work.
That's the key word, the work to undo those things, and it's a lifelong thing because your thoughts, when he says meditate on the word daily, you have to literally meditate and change your thoughts constantly because thoughts come and go.
And you have
and
to
they're
renew
prayers. You have to be careful what you project out, whether it's negative or positive. The laws of attraction. See, we're eclectic, and that's how we're able to kind of reach people where they are. So, wherever paradigm or thought, Pan-Africanism, agnostic, Satanists I've even worked with, wherever you are, we can help guide you to reframe and to reshape your thinking and the behavior. That's why I love cognitive behavior therapy, because behavior plays another component too, because you can change your thoughts, but if you're still doing the same behavior,
it's pointless.
Right. Miss Demi, what advice would you give someone with that illness on how to keep pushing forward, keep pushing through regardless?
I think with any illness, especially something that's terminal, I tell them, read the four agreements. If not, YouTube it. The power of agreement. That's number one. What a man thinketh, so is he. So if you see yourself as broken, as damaged, that you're going to die, which I have to tell myself because death is definitely all around me, then guess what? You feel that. If you say that I'm whole, I'm light, I'm an agent of change, I'm going to beat this, then you kind of attract it. Sometimes it's just meant that for that person to die, but maybe that death would affect someone else in the community as a whole. So maybe it wasn't just for that person. They had a greater meaning. I tell them to get centered. I love aromatherapy for me and meditation to get that spiritual component strengthened. God
within you.
Yeah, the divine, we're co-creators. So tap into that inner goddess or God in you and make peace. And that's what I'm still trying to do because I have a lot of things that I'm holding on to. Release, forgive yourself, and know that it's not your fault that you're sick. And if it is your fault, like say if you smoked and now you've acquired all this damage, it's okay. Don't beat yourself up. But the key is getting clear,
centered and finding a spiritual guide, however you choose. If it's Oshun, Maya, if it's Hare Krishna, if it's Buddha, if it's Jesus, whomever is a totem for you, use it. Like spirituality to me is one of the best things that I can tell anyone who's sick to find that purpose, and just to connect and to be balanced. Our body maintains homeostasis, so you need that spiritually too, and that affects your health. So finding those things to help you cope. And if you need to get a therapist, if you need to get a life coach, if you need someone to help you, do it. So
okay,
that's my advice.
Miss Davi,
yes.
What advice would you give that plus-size person, I'm not going to say boy or girl, who wants to step into modeling or who don't think they are beautiful enough to do it?
Wow. I just did it. Oh, wow. I really feel they have the passion to do it. Nothing beats a failure than someone not trying. And so a lot of times negative self-talk, negative images of self would keep you in a box. And so what I would do is suggest them that, hey, go ahead. If you want to kind of get a feel and test the market, book you a photo shoot, glam out for the photo shoot, guy or girl, your favorite outfit, something that you feel good when you put it on, you look good, and do a test shoot. Post it on Instagram, post it on Facebook, and kind of see how people you want to gauge your audience, see how people, feel about you. Try out different casting calls. Look up your favorite designers. Look up under, I don't know, Craigslist is still not, I know they used to, a lot of people here in South Florida, they use that, but kind of like I tell people now, Instagram, Facebook are your good foundation points. If you have a designer, a look that you like, look those things up, and then you will kind of gauge when they're having casting calls or go-sees and go out and do that. But definitely make sure on the realitytv.com, but
certain model casting.
Hey, you're throwing up a thought right now. And so when you invest, I would say invest in that photo shoot, your professional headshot and your full body shots, and you want to test the market. Hey, you see an agency in the area, go to a talent agency. Go to Ford Wilhelmina Models. Go to major, I know here we have Dorothy Combs. You want to go out and put yourself in the market. If you don't test the market, you would never know how your look. There's so many people waiting for that look, your look. So you just got to test and see and check it out and see for yourself. And for me, I was fortunate enough to be discovered by designers. And I have, modeled for Jabri Couture, Monique C. For Ashley Stewart several times. So, if you don't go out, put yourself out there, you won't know that you are the look that they're looking for. So that's my best advice. And work IG, man. Social media is where it's at. Matter of fact, somebody submitted our picture, and then we became like top finalists for the Cynthia Bailey model. So if you don't put your pictures out there, people ain't gonna know who you are. People can't see you. So put yourself out there. That's the best advice I would say. Put yourself out there. And then I would lastly say, like I told my nephew the other day, be you and the world will adjust. Amen.
And a lot of times we're intimidated by our own light, how people receive us. I am eccentric. You may be like me. You have this over-the-top big personality. And it's okay. Don't dim your light so other people's doors open up for you. And use that to put your image out there in social media. And you'll be surprised, like how these people get found on YouTube. You can get found on Instagram. You can get found on Facebook. So put yourself out there.
What is next for the Wonder Twinz?
What is next?
Everything. For Demi, again, I'm going to put that H word right there. Husband, I hope, is next. For Demi.
Wonder Twinz looking for love.
Yes. Yes, we need to get on a show.
Wonder Twinz looking for love. Come on, Steve Harvey. No, but it's definitely continue the platform, continue to tell our story. There's definitely books in the pipeline. I do have the Late Night with Davy show. Demetria has the Demi Dish. I'm on various other platforms as a voice and radio and TV personality. So that is definitely in the pipeline for the Wonder Twinz. Any way we can tell our story and let our beauty and our beauty speak for us as well as our voice, we're going to do that. And so that's what's next with the Wonder Twinz. We are not limiting ourselves. We want wherever our feet are planted, we want to soar. We want to dominate wherever we are planted. And that's what we want to do.
Yeah, I want
to be one of the main faces of scleroderma. I want to get endorsements. I want to get some free. I need a battery-operated oxygen machine so I can be able to be more mobile, to fly, and to do more awareness and advocacy, because it's expensive. And I paid $800 to rent an oxygen machine twice. Like, I could use that for my rent. Yes, it's expensive. It's $400 each time for a week. Like, it's expensive, and they be hitting us poor with disabled people. Like, we got all this money.
Knowing y'all live on fixed income.
Yeah, that's crazy. I'm telling you, it's like it's fixed so that you don't
enjoy life
or you have a quality life. But I bind that up in the name of Jesus. But yeah, I want to be that face. I want you to see in a Time magazine. I want to receive an honorary doctorate for the work done in scleroderma. Like, that's where I want to be. I really want to do more in terms of awareness and visibility and rocking my cannula and empowering people.
Hashtag cannula sexy.
And about just rare and chronic debilitating diseases, period, because we're all in this umbrella. And to let the government know that, yeah, we too have a voice. And at the end of the day, guess what? Your behind can wake up the next day and have a disease like ours. Which one of the presidents just had a brain tumor or something? Was it Jimmy Carter? One of the presidents, I don't keep up because I live in a bubble. I don't watch television.
John McCain.
John McCain, yes. I disconnect because it's so much negativity. I can't allow that into my psyche. But autoimmune diseases from women 13, from 13 to 50, you literally can wake up with a disease and not know it. So again, we're not exempt. So that's what down the pipeline for us, is raising more awareness, putting on more shows, fundraising, TV, radio, however we can get it. We're going to get it. We're going to get it. Wow, that's hot too,
Well, ladies, I definitely want you to shout out your social media and tell our listeners where they can find you.
Okay. All right. Go ahead, Davy. That's Davy's name.
All right. So this is Davy, and you can catch me at Davy Speaks, and that's DAVI Speaks _. And you can catch Demi at Zahara's Mom, and that is ZAHARAMUM on IG. We also have a fan page on Facebook. I'm sorry, Zahara's with Zahara with an S and MUM. Also on Facebook at the Wonder Twinz with a Z, which is our fan page. And also on IG, we also have the real Wonder Twinz with a Z. And you can also catch Demi's Dish on Facebook. And you can also catch my fan page at Late Night with Davy on Wednesday nights at midnight. I go live with Always Love, and it's real. So we have a good time on our show. So that's how you can stay tuned and connected with the Wonder Twinz out of Miami Gardens, Florida.
Alrighty. Well, I thank you, ladies, for coming on to the Flame Show, where every topic we touch is straight fire. I am your girl, Kaye TheTruth, and if you're not dealing with Kaye, you already know it's definitely not the truth, but that means that somebody's lying, but you know it's not me. Google me at www.kaythetruth.com and follow me on all social media at Kaye TheTruth, and we're out.
If you're not dealing with Kaye, it ain't the truth.
It's the Flame Show. Powered by The Truth Talk Show.